Okay, we can start with a prayer here.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancti. Sicut erat in principio et semper et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Sancti Joseph, ora pro nobis. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Great, so we will just start with general things about singing, especially for men. So the talk is about the manliness of chant, okay? And we should just know a couple of things about singing, and especially singing in today's culture. So for men to sing in today's culture is looked at as effeminate, okay? And this is not ever how it was before, okay? The way that this happened is very fascinating, and it was all orchestrated by Satan and the devil, okay? So he really attacked the music. This was a big part of his plan in order to destroy the youth and to destroy the family. And so we see that Satan attacks every part of our lives, okay? And so music is very important, and it has really fallen by the wayside in education, in family life, in what kind of songs that we learn. And so that as a result, when we think, oh, you know, singing is only for those people who can do it, right? Or who actually are professional or something like this. Then what happens, even if we don't have a perfect voice, but, you know, we have a mediocre voice, we never really exercise it, and then as a result, singing in the family becomes very weak, and then it's always left to the women. And maybe there's some guys here or there, but for the most part, because, again, the women start to dominate it because they have naturally high voices, the men just kind of disappear, and then the boys, they don't sing because they don't see their dads sing, and then you just have this whole snowball effect until what you have is then modern culture where you have these kinds of singers where they actually don't have good, I mean, some of them are, you know, they have good vocal technique, but a lot of them, they just kind of scream, or, you know, they rap, or, you know, they are just, you know, having their unique voice, you know, and so here you, you know, think of like Adele or Billie Eilish or, you know, all these different people, and people recognize their voices because they have a unique voice, and so everybody wants to sing, if they do sing, with their own sort of unique voice, and then they never actually blend together, and they never learn how to sing in a group. And so what singing becomes is singing the pop songs of the modern age. Okay, and you see how powerful the music is, because if you go and just look up concert with Taylor Swift or concert with Beyonce, right, you see how many people are there and how much money they're paying for. I know I talk about this a lot, but, you know, you have $1,000 per ticket or $10,000 for a front row seat for Taylor Swift, and the entire stadium is full, and you're paying $1,000 to be like the little speck up there, and you can't even see her because, you know, she's just that little speck down there, and then you look at the whole concert on a screen, you know, paying $1,000. Okay, and this is kind of what we've gotten to here. You know, where, you know, you just have this infatuation with this kind of music, where it really is the kind of music that only affects the baser parts of us, the emotional parts of us, and so the music becomes extremely repetitive and extremely, you can say, emotional and very superficial. You know, so what is Taylor Swift always singing about? She's always singing about breakups, okay? Love and breakup, and never anything, you know, of substance, you know, and how she's so hurt, and or how, you know, he hurt her, or whatever it is, right? And so you have the subject of the music just becoming very stupid and about things which are, you know, just very teenage emotion, you know, drama queen type things with girls, and then you get the whole formation of girls in such a way that they grow up, with these kind of role models as girls, and then the guys are looking at, the kind of ways that the, I don't know who, like Justin Bieber is dressing up, or Harry Styles is dressing up, and all these kind of, all these things that happen, and so they look at these as their role models for singing, and that's the idea we have of singing now, okay? And so as a result, what happens with regards to singing then is that the whole tradition of church music is then supplanted because now we have this style of singing, pop music and rap and, all the different kinds of modern music that are here, which the young listen to. And then we see that it's not church music, so we don't have that refined ear to hear the beauty in church music. And thus nobody is interested in church music anymore, or they try to infuse rock music or pop music into the way that we sing church music. Okay, and so all of this is orchestrated by the devil. It's not by accident. He knows that Gregorian chant is very holy. Okay, there is a story of some monks who they sang, the office. So this tenebrae is just one of many offices, all the offices for the year. And they sang Gregorian chant, and they would spend hours. Here the monks of old would spend hours and hours just singing chant and practicing chant, okay? And as soon as they took that out of their schedule, because they said, okay, it's a new church, it's a modern church, nobody wants to listen to this, medieval dark chant or whatever, and we need some upbeat, country music or, whatever kind of music that, the people are listening to, and we need to update our music. And so then they stopped singing the chant, and then what happened as a result is they start to get sick. Okay, so here their bodies were actually used to all of the good things that the chant was naturally producing. You actually produce a lot of good hormones when you sing. Okay, and all these hormones are being released that are good when you sing, and especially when you sing chant, and it's a sort of music that imitates prayer the best way. And so as soon as they left that behind, then they found that they weren't as energetic. They didn't have enough, energy to do their usual tasks. They started to get more, sickly, etc. And we see that chant not only helps the mind and the soul, but it also keeps the body strong. Okay, so the chant is really important to keep alive, especially for men. So, Connor's in my choir, right? And we just have this huge imbalance between all these girls and then these little, elementary school girls. And then on the other side are like the 5 guys. Even in Latin Mass choirs is really, really painful. Here you have, Latin Mass choir. We have ours here at St. Peter and Paul. They have theirs in St. Therese at Alhambra. And you look at all of them. Even you look at a fraternity of St. Peter, okay, and the St. Vitus one. I mean, they have more guys, but it's still, as compared to the number of women who are singing, it's just not equal whatsoever, right? So it's really important to see that even in the Latin Mass community, here where we're trying as seriously as possible to live the traditions of the church, there's still a lot of prejudice and a lot of misunderstanding with regards to singing, and a lot of fear with regards to singing, okay? And so here, this is a great thing that San Dimas is doing. Obviously started, here, the great tradition by Father Adrian for you guys to sing Tenebrae, and then you're bringing it here to the parish, Holy Innocents, and just to see guys singing is very impressive, okay? Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, we're just starting out here, but just to see guys, all guys, singing is very important because we don't see that ever, okay? And then to see it only 3 days out of the year is not enough too, right? So this is a good place to start, right? But here we gotta also push, that this is something regular that every kid sees and everybody sees, or every kid, teenager, young adult, whatever it is, even the old people. It's important to see men sing every Mass, right? It's very important to do that. So here, when we sing, there is a beautiful psychology about it, because when we sing and we sing correctly and for the right motive, we gain manly virtue. Okay, so when we sing, right, we have to have courage enough that what we have inside of us, right, comes out and everybody is listening to it. Okay, so if you think about it, right, when you sing, it takes a lot of courage because you have something in your voice, right? You have to share it and everybody hears it. Okay, that's very difficult in today's society. A lot of people are scared. They don't want, to be judged. This awful word that everybody uses, right? And so they won't sing. They won't even, for example, let people hear their voice. So, for example, this is a difficulty with children, especially in high school and then elementary school nowadays that I see, is that they cannot even say responses during Mass, if they're in Novus Ordo Mass, right? They can't even say their responses. You have to, bend over backwards to bring it out of them, and this is something also that happened with regards to the mask, right? Just like closing your mouth, right? You cannot speak. You are used to now keeping everything interior and just watching everything, and there's not enough courage to let your voice come out, and especially singing voice come out, right? And so here it's really important to see that singing builds the manly virtue of fortitude, right? Courage is very necessary, and it builds humility, because whatever people are listening to, they might laugh, they might, they might snicker, they might make fun of us, right? It's something that here we really need to develop this, just being used to getting our voice out there. Okay, it's very, very difficult. I remember this when I was younger, and we would pray the family rosary, and my mom would lead the rosary, and my dad, he would sit there, but he wouldn't actually even say anything, right? Here, when the first time, he somehow, I forget how it happened, but he volunteered to say the rosary, right? He's a convert. He's from Buddhist. He's a Buddhist convert, right? He married my mother, and then, before then he became Catholic. So it's not second nature to him, okay? So then when he was praying the rosary, and then finally he said the Our Father for the first time, I remember as a child, I laughed at him because it was so foreign. I was like, Dad is praying, and I just laughed, and I was just like a little child. I didn't mean to do anything mean, but it was just so surprising, that I was like, oh my gosh, Dad is actually praying, it just took me by surprise. The whole point of that is just to show us that, here the men, they show themselves to be, as it were, macho, or, they show themselves to be, cool by just kind of not saying anything, looking around, just kind of holding everything in, and then when you're ready, you go and attack, etc., right? But you're always just, silent, and you have these kids, for example, I'm a rector at the school, and, this is how when I look at the young men in 8th grade, right, they're, growing up to be men, right, the silence is like, they're just constantly, they have the face, you put the face on, right, the cool face, right, like nothing's going to faze you, and you don't say anything, right, because you won't let anybody, judge you, quote unquote, right? And you are just there. You don't let anybody know anything about you, have that mysterious, mystique, and this is the kind of manhood that we're talking about here, okay? You're just mysterious, you have that blank face, you're just kind of looking, and silence. There's nothing that comes out, right? But really what it is just fear, okay? That's really immature, and we see that the gentleman, right, is the one, and this is what they teach, at, Holy Innocents, or they teach at, we try to teach at Saints Peter and Paul, is that, the man is going to go up to you and shake your hand, say, how are you today, right? How are you doing, Father, right? Or good afternoon, Mr. whatever, or good afternoon, whatever, right? Father Adrian is very big on that. When the altar servers, when they come, they dress, they see the priest, they must take the initiative to go up and say, good morning, Father, right? Okay, and they, shake your hand, etc., right? So it's very important, this idea, this false idea of masculinity that, music videos put out today of like, the mysterious, cool guy, or, just the silent guy that doesn't say anything. It's everywhere, and then here we have to obviously have this notion of the Catholic gentleman. Okay, so lastly, before we start here, our practice. Okay, lastly here, it's very important to see that beforehand, for men to sing, this was the norm. Okay, so historically, women were not allowed to sing, okay, in church. They were not allowed to sing. You had boys and men. That's all you got, okay? So in the Sistine Choir, you never had anything, right? Just boys and men, not even instruments, right? Only much, much later did women get to allow to sing. And, people, you think about this, the wisdom of the church before, and you're like, wow, the church is so sexist. They wouldn't allow women to sing. This is so mean, right? And they only let guys sing, okay? Well, you see what happened as soon as the women started to sing, okay? They're the only ones that sing now, right? They're the only ones in the thing. So it's just like, now the women dominate all the choirs, right? It's so hard to get men in church choirs, and you just don't have anybody singing, right? As soon as a boy starts to sing, this is very, very interesting, because I have a children's choir too. As soon as a boy starts to sing, the first thing that the girls say is, oh, that sounds like me, right? And then the boy doesn't want to sing anymore after that, right? Okay? Even though they have the most beautiful voices, so the boys, they really have different voices than the girls. You can hear it, when they're a boy. It's richer, it's much more, it still has a manliness to it, although it is high, okay? So, really, we see that beforehand, with regards to church music, the men would sing everything. Only in the monasteries of women do you have the women singing like tenebrae, but they're by themselves, in the cloister, just like Saint Therese when she's in Carmel, she would just, they obviously only had women, so they were the singers, but here in like all the churches, the public churches, it's always the men who would have the choirs, and then you would have the men, and then you would have the boys who would sing the higher parts, okay? And that was just the norm, and it was kept that way for a long time, and even, so it kept that way for a long time, and then finally, when everything started to cave in, with the modern music, it's not wrong for women to sing, obviously, okay? But here, as soon as that came in, then the men just kind of dwindled. It's kind of the same thing with regards to altar servers. If you let the altar server boys, altar server girls, start coming in, then they come in and they dominate, and then the number of altar boys just goes away. So it's the same kind of phenomenon there, right? So here it's also important just to see historically that for men in their minds to be a man, everybody sang, okay? The next thing is, for historical purposes, is St. Edmund Campion. He was one of the English martyrs. He was very learned. He knew so many languages, philosophy, theology, rhetoric, everything. St. Edmund Campion, right? And so he was one of the English martyrs that was killed in a very gruesome way in England under, I think, Elizabeth I. I can't remember. Who was it? I think Elizabeth I. So, here in his writings, St. Edmund Campion has a very interesting thing about music. He was talking about what it means to be a gentleman, and he says that if you cannot sing polyphony, you are not a gentleman. Right? That's from St. Edmund Campion. It's like very, in order to sing polyphony, this is when the melodies are intertwining, and you have to like hold your own part, right? So here at Edmund Campion, this is a different time, obviously, okay? But here, he said, in order to be a gentleman, you need to know how to basically read music and to sing polyphony. That was a very high standard back then, The standards back then were so very amazing about what you had to learn in school, and the languages that you had to learn, and what you learned at what time. So it's very important just to see that historically. Okay, so here we go to look at my time here. Let's go to the tenebrae, and the tenebrae format, as you see, is that you will have, your psalms, and I think usually you just sing your psalms in mode, which one, mode 2 or mode 8? Do you know? Yeah, okay. So let me see here. What do you sing? It might be mode 2. Okay. So usually, like, if you follow this actual music, it would be Salvum me facteus, quoniam intraverunt aqueusque ad animam meam. Right. So you have that pattern. Okay. The first part, Salvum me facteus. Okay. And then you have a break. You have the asterisk, okay? Then you have the next part. Quoniam intraverunt aqueusque ad animam meam. You have the second part, okay? So the structure of matins is you have a lot of the repetition of the psalms there. Not the repetition of the psalms, but the repetition of the melody. And so once you get that, you just kind of sing that the whole way through, okay? And so here, if you kind of get that, it's basically you'll be set. So in order to warm up to that, we're going to sing our scale. So in music, everything is based upon the diatonic scale, it's called, okay? So the diatonic scale is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, let's sing it together. Here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Yes, okay. So you notice immediately, it's so interesting psychologically and philosophically. What happens as soon as you get a group of guys and you make them sing together? It's so fast, like how many observations you make. You're like looking around and seeing who's producing what, right? Really interesting. So anyways, here we have great sound. I love it. Great. So just put your voice out there, okay? Let everybody see your beautiful voice, whatever it is, okay? God made it, so you just let everybody see it, okay? Do, here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Good, right? Nice. Okay, perfect. So when you get a whole group of guys and they sing together and it really matches, right? It's very powerful. Okay, you can hear masculinity in it. It doesn't sound, the other kind. If you can, yeah, that would be great. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, when you sing, it's really a full body exercise. You really have to use all of your lungs. So you really have to. One of the things in singing is you have to learn how to breathe. So everybody just breathe in, and then all the way out. Right? We're not used to using that much air, because we're kind of lazy. We just like talk with whatever we have or mumble, right? So we don't actually have practice. We don't go like this. How are you doing today, right? We don't practice public speaking where you need your full lungs. Beforehand, for example, like Cicero, there's no microphones whatsoever. You have to use your whole voice to fill the entire stadium. How do they do that? They have to breathe in completely. They can't salve, right? It's like, salve, right? Okay, and you just like fill the entire room, and you have to command everybody with your voice. That takes a lot of practice. So for us, it can't just be like, okay, I'm just going to produce a sound, right? It's like, oh, I don't like that sound because I never really sang, and so I'm not going to sing anymore because it didn't come out perfect the first time, right? That's not the way to think, right? We have to work at it like any sport, okay? So here, it takes practice to breathe, and then also practice to sustain our note, and then also practice to listen to other people so that our pitch will match each other. Okay, so let's just try again. It takes time also to kind of listen, so it's good, to sit up straight. That's perfect. Great job. You did it without even me asking, right? Okay, so here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Good, okay. That's basically good. Yes, very nice, okay. So again, we try to match our pitch, right? So it's good we put our voice out there, and then here, as soon as we put our voice out there, then we make sure that we're matching everybody else, okay? So don't be afraid if you're, not singing on pitch. It's okay, right? You can kind of hear it. Get used to what it sounds like to match your voice to somebody else. Because this is, again, for some people, it's easier because they're hearing is more refined, as well as their auditory memory is more refined. Okay, for example, some people have photographic memory. Okay, they can just look at something and remember it, right? But there's some people who are more refined with regards to ears, right, and to reproduce a sound. But other people, it takes practice, so that's okay. This is part of humility and part of just being a human being, right? Okay, so here we go. Let's try it one more time. So really listen. I love the volume. It's really great. Keep your volume really warm, right? This is the great power of the man's voice, is you have this beautiful solidity and warmth in the voice, okay? The women, they don't have this, okay? It's like, how do you describe it, clean, cold, no, not necessarily cold. It just soars above everything. Say it again. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's many words. Yeah, it's like honey, but it's when you hear a woman's voice, it has its own flavor to it, but it doesn't have that solidity. The men's voice has that solidity. That's why we have a low voice. God created that to be a certain way, right? So here you want a warm voice. You also want your throat to be as open as possible. So even yawning. So everybody just yawn. Oh, okay. It's very uncomfortable to do it because it's a little silly. But here, just yawn. Oh, yeah, exactly. The big throat is the key to a beautiful sound, okay? If you constrict your throat, you're going to sound like a duck, okay? It's like, right? Oh, right? It's just more natural and it just sounds better, okay? So you're thinking big throat, big mouth, because if you have a constricted mouth, everything else will be constricted. So these are the things, for example, they teach in. I didn't get formal training in music for singing, so it's a little bit of a foreign world for me. But the things that they say, for example, you're like eating an apple when you're singing, right? You're sticking a pencil up to your soft palate, so the back of your mouth is up, so you won't be pierced. All right, so when you're singing, the soft palate should be up because it makes your cavern bigger. Okay, so you have a hard palate in the front, right, and then the back part goes up. That's why when you yawn, it's bigger, right? You can feel that there. Oh, let's sing a note together. Oh, good. Let's listen to each other. It's beautiful. That's really nice. Okay, let's try again. Oh. Resonance for men's voice that you do not hear very often. It's so rare. Okay, so here, big mouth, your soft palate should be up for like yawning. And then you'll get a nice, gorgeous sound. And you have to practice that. It feels weird because you have to think about it like big mouth. I gotta breathe. I have to raise my palate, right? I have to be, straight, right? I have to make sure that I'm, not slouching. Okay, you have to think of all those things. Those are not natural. It takes practice, right? So that's why here for singing practice, these. If you really are serious about singing, for example, they have the famous boys' choirs in England, right? They practice before, during school, after school. Their amount of practice is just hours and hours so that they can just get used to how to sing immediately. They basically know how to immediately position themselves, stand, and then be ready to sing immediately, right? It takes a lot of steps to get ready to do that. So. Okay, so that's just to show you all those things with regards to singing, okay? Next, let's go up, and then let's go down, okay? So it's a little bit harder down, so let's see what you can do. Do, here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Good, now from the top. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. It's hard backwards, right? So let's take it in chunks here. Do, ti, la, just the first three. Do, ti, la. Good, by yourselves. Do. Good, la. Good, and then our last part. Sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol. So, fa, mi, re, do. Perfect. One more time. Sol, fa, mi, re, do. Good. Whole thing from top to bottom. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Beautiful. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Great. Okay, good. So when you sing, you pray twice. It's really important to meditate on this because usually when we sing, we're usually thinking about our mistakes or being self-conscious or, we're thinking about all these different things. But here, the act of singing is giving everything to God, right? So when you sing, right? You have to actually practice praying while you're singing, okay? So we're going to just take a famous chant, okay? Ave Maria. Okay, take it slow, okay? Ave Maria. Good. And at the beginning, the monks did not learn how to read music, okay? They all learned from memorization, okay? So they just listened to the chant master, and then they just copied him over and over and over again. So it's like, what did those monks do all day long? Well, they worked in the field, and they practiced chant. That's basically what it was, okay? They worked in the field, and prayed, obviously, okay? But here, we worked on the field, practiced chant, and then sang the chant as a prayer, right? And then, of course, Mass, right? This is their whole day, okay?
Practicing chant at the same as praying, though?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you're definitely preparing. When you practice the chant, you are really preparing for your prayer to be fruitful. So you want to give the best to God. That's the whole mindset. So you want to do it as beautifully as possible. So yes, good question. So here we go. Here we go. Ave Maria. Nice, nice. Good. No fear. Okay, so here, beautiful. Okay, so now when we sing, we want to sing cleanly, right? You got to feel your voice. Ave Ma. You hear it's not clean, right? Right? Okay. It's this is called scooping. Okay, kind of like scooping, or you can say sliding. Okay, but you want clear tones. Ave, Ave, and you again just have to feel it out. You can't really teach somebody how to do it, right? You just have to feel it out. Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. Yes, yeah. Orthodox chant that's like super manly chant. That's like those guys. Oh my goodness, they go so low. Yeah, that's crazy. Yes, they have a lot of bass things. So okay, so Ave. Let's just do a clean interval there. Interval means space between the notes. Fa mi re do Ave. Here we go. Ave. Good. One more time. Ave. Good. Let's do this side here. Ready? Ave. Good. Let's try this side. Ave. Beautiful. Nice job. Okay. Ave. Good. And so this side needs to be a little bit more tuned. Okay. This one is good. Okay. But that's okay. No worries. And that's part of the chant, right? Here, to get corrected and not be like, oh, this is the end of the world. It's okay. My gosh, this is a very, very important part, for choirs, etc. A lot of people are so afraid, to get corrected. and they think that, oh, this is, it means that they hate me, or, I'm useless, or I have no self-worth, etc., right? It's very, you just get that mentality, especially in the modern age, right? But here, it's just, I'm not in tune, so I'm going to try to do it, It's just very simple, and then here, to get corrected and not to have, like, a whole internal explosion drama, that's very important to be a man, okay? Here, when, people either get corrected or receive a correction, or they give a correction, you can easily tell if they are very virtuous or not. Okay, it's very important to see because, for example, if you see people correct somebody else and it explodes out, right? Because they're just so angry, right? You're like, why did you not do this, right? Okay. It reveals a lot. Either here they have to use so much energy because they're uncertain about themselves. They think that their correction is not going to be taken because they're not forceful enough, right? Or here they're just so angry a person, that they can't control their anger. That's another thing, right? So even the way that correction is given, here we just treat it as something very simple. Here you have to hold the bat in this way, and then the kid just takes it, just holds it, tries again, and then just keep on doing it. This is the exact way that music should be done also. Okay. So here we go. Let's try one more time all together. Ave. Here we go. Ave. Good, good. And so basically, you just try that there. Okay. So great. So just as you let your voice come out more and more, then you start to match the pitch and you start to, try to tune yourself. A good thing to do also is to sing softly. Okay, great, wonderful. So in Tenebrae, you have these long psalms here, but it's going to be the same, formula, right? So here, let's just practice the formula here. Sol, la, do, sol, la, do. Good. So this is the first notes. So chant is much easier to read. Modern music is nice. Okay. So here, sol, la, do, sol, la, do. Sol. Wait for the breath first. Sol, la, do. Beautiful. Okay. So that's the incipit, the beginning part of the chant, okay, or the psalm verses. You have that sol, la, do, and then you have the mediant, the middle part is where you have the high note, sol, la, do, re, do. Okay, so this is called the mediant, the middle part of the psalm verse. So here we're going to sing sol, la, do, re, do. We'll sing it together. Sol, la, do, re, do. Good job. Okay, beautiful. Then after that you have the ending of the psalm. So you're going to go back to the reciting tone. Do, la, do, re, do. So let's just practice the ending. Do, la, do, re, do. Beautiful. Okay, great. And so then you just learn to fit that formula on top of the text. Okay. So then, for example, when it has the bolded part, that's when you go up. Est mihi in Deum protectorem et in locum unitum. Okay. Then the ending, the down part will be italicized. Ut salvum me facias. Okay. So when you start practicing this, you will be able to see the italicized. When you practice.
So, so realistically, Father, I mean, this is going to be the first time that we're going to attempt to do it. Do you think we can do it? I mean, we're all beginners. What do you think it would take, like 3 times a week to practice to master it before 10 for you? Or? Sure, yeah. I mean, sure. Obviously, like the sacrifice involved. I think it's try, maybe just, maybe once a week first, just see what you can do. I mean, Connor can lead these days. And so, and you just learn how to pronounce that. It's all, there. If you have CI, ch, ch. So you get used to it because there's so much time to practice. But yeah, it's possible. Really. Yeah, you guys have a good sound, so it's a strong sound. Yeah. So so you probably need to know too, then, right? Sorry. Yeah, this one was 8. So, and you might just ask, I don't know if it's something you want to do, you might just ask all the Adrians for this copy. I don't know, just because it will be easier to read.
The reason we didn't is because it was in Spanish.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, that's right. Correct.
Let's see here. I mean, there's some Tenebrae ones here. Oh yeah, these are all the ones. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Maybe there's one that's just a clean copy. Don't have to really see it. Yeah, but yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, we can do that. If you want to, we can try to do something. So, practice, Saturdays, right? Yes, it's that we go. Yeah, try that.
Do you know Hervé?
Hervé, yes. It's like a
Any questions there? It's kind of just more a general overview, but it's good. You kind of see the sacrifice involved, So it's a lot of work. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember you talking, because I listened to you talk about chant, like, I don't know if it was 3 years ago or something. But I remember you talking about how fathers, right, they would pass down not only the melody, but it's also like what it's talking about. So, like, for example, the Psalms.
Yes.
Right? So, wouldn't the Jewish people, like, wouldn't they sing the Psalms and then pass them down like that?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to
because it's not like
teach.
Can read, right? Or...
Yeah, you just have to teach, Yeah, so, the Psalms themselves are, the chant on top of it is formulaic, so it's not going to be it's just going to be a formula. The chant that is actually symbolic is the one that goes everywhere. So that was obviously the harder one, but in the psalm, the psalm tones that you sing, basically what that means is you just have to see what psalms you're singing when and why. So that's the part of that you're kind of teaching. So basically Maundy Thursday, you're thinking about basically, after the Last Supper, Jesus is taken away, and the Psalms are all going to reflect, kind of. I mean, you can. Sorry, let me just look at that. You can just have a general idea. Because obviously the Latin is hard; it's not easy Latin. So you can just probably write down the general idea of the psalm, and you're just kind of meditating on that as you, read. So here's the first psalm. The first psalm at Matins. Here, Salve Deus, playing Choreo, Bacchus, and so here. Oh, you have the English here, right? Yeah, so here, obviously, you are just going to. It's hard to read it all, but you can just summarize it and just say, here, Christ is asking, that our Lord save him, that he can suffer for the church. So you're going to see why the psalm is chosen for Holy Thursday. Why are these ones chosen for Good Friday? Why are they chosen for Holy Saturday? So that's part of the teaching part.
That might be weird in those things right there, those ones, right?
Yes, that might be yeah. Exactly. And you guys know that's obviously the prophecy of Christ. When they mocked him.
We can get so concentrated on trying to sing, keep the tone that we're not even realizing the words we're saying.
Yeah. In a way, it's kind of a sacrifice too. Like even if you don't understand what you're saying, you still are doing something. That the church has done for hundreds of years. You just say, I give that up to Jesus. The church will understand for me. I just will do my little part. Which is a big part. Okay. Anything else? Is that good? Any other questions here? Now we're ready.
I think that's it, Father. I just think that we need to practice more and get ready before 10 and ready.
Okay, sounds good.
We find our voices. So I think we have Connor here and David and Saulito and your assistants. I think we could do it.
Perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, it's great if you guys can, lead it too. But maybe like the first one we can do it, and then you can, lead the rest of them.
Yeah, or like YouTube videos. Okay.
Oh yeah, YouTube. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I know we did it for the retreat, so we would just schedule another time to meet up and plan some stuff out. Or the Telegram page as well. You can upload MP3s onto there or videos directly onto there. So if all of you brothers have regular access to that. I know it'll just be on your phone, so maybe YouTube is a bit better because you can log on the computer.
I like the Telegram because you just go audio and that's what I have.
Yeah, it's kind of more instant.
Is there anything
mini lessons?
Common chant. I always think about the rosary. Is that ever chanted, or does that just take too long when you chant the rosary?
Yeah, it would be too long. Yeah, usually, the chants are really relegated for. They try to do chanting, for other prayers, but the chant is really here for the office and for Mass. You know, so I mean, you're free to chant those if you want to, but it is long. I mean, like Ave Maria is like already 2 minutes,
So we do our rosary.
3 minutes.
Between the mysteries, Saul or David will chant one of the.
Oh, that takes a long time. So.
Yeah, but it's pretty. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it.
There are sometimes I've heard rosaries done with an accompanying psalm for each mystery.
For each mystery.
So you do that and just do a psalm tone for that verse.
Just because of the timing of a rosary and our meeting, it's going to take a bit of time. But what we can do is what we always do at the end. We usually chant the Ave Maria, also the Salve Regina. So I know that some of you just listen. So moving forward, what we can do is
start doing that.
Print it out and have everybody participate, just so we could practice, even like Father said, being on the same page, the tune, and trying to follow each other, you know. And I think that's going to help us come integrate, you know.
I'm thinking to that at church when we do our Tuesday night.
That's what I was
monthly mass, and when we do that,
you're right.
All that adoration and have us all sing, so we can be like Father Jacob was saying.
Yeah, because
be vulnerable and put our voices out there, and maybe
visible.
Eventually, we could build an immense choir.
Exactly, that would be great.
I think we could get together and decide in each all-night adoration, each monthly. You guys can choose whatever chants you want us to join along, so everybody can have a written page and follow along.
Eric could really plan for us to help us stay.
Yeah.
So not in the meetings, but over here at all-night adoration.
Oh.
Yeah, so we can start with that, little steps to get there, But yeah, definitely good idea.
Okay.
We'll have a men's choir.
That's awesome. Yeah.
One step at a time.
Great. Okay. Well, good. That's super inspiring. Thank you for your sacrifice and desire to sing for Jesus.
That's active participation, right?
Yeah. That's true.
So basically, when we all learn, like, let's just say like humanity learned chant, then it would basically fix so much, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'm get rid of this music. You know that.
Everything that is not for God. Fix all the human mistakes.
Yeah, so it's like chant, and then folk music is really important. Just music that you sing for fun, but it's like really wholesome folk music. It's very important. To sing, and like obviously all the Christmas carols. Like, people just don't know Christmas carols anymore. They only know rocking around a Christmas tree or something like that. The actual Christmas carols and what they sound like. Yeah, if you can, definitely. Traditional Philippine ones would be great too. Yeah, just to get folk songs and then chant, and then of course polyphony would be great too.
Father, when in the church history did polyphony start to become popular?
That's a good question. It's probably Middle Ages. They started to experiment with, tones which are different, but sound good together. And so then you start getting the harmonies, and then from the harmonies, you started to get independent melodies. So
it's called like organ.
Yeah, yes.
It's kind of like the body as the instrument.
Yes, exactly.
This is where the organ comes from.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Say a prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sic ut erat in principio et nunc et semper, in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Sancte Dimas, ora pro nobis, in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Okay, thank you so much.